Frank at Bottom Line Ministries Debt Free. It's so great to be with you again this Wednesday evening. I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and you ate all those good, delicious meals. And now you're back in the gym trying to get rid of those extra pounds that you put on. But I want you not to feel too guilty about those extra pounds because a lot of it came from food that were prepared by people who loved you so much and food that you prepared for people that you loved a great deal. So I'm back with you this Wednesday night, and we're going to continue with what we were talking about 2 weeks ago. Last week, I just wanted all of us to remember to give thanks and to remember to tell someone that you love them and to express your love in any way that you could, because love is such an important part of life. And guess what? It costs absolutely nothing to give love, but it can cost you everything if you don't let the people that you truly love know that you love them. And tonight we want to talk about relationships, how debt is a big hindrance to relationships, the effects that debt has on relationships. And one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is how the breadwinner becomes the bread loser. When a man can't provide for his family, you don't hear that term that much these days, the breadwinner, because usually you have two income homes. And so it's kind of like a toss in the air. But basically, if you really think about it, the man still is looked at as the breadwinner in the family or the leader of the home or however you want to put it. And you say, well, Frank, that's kind of an old fashioned because, men don't lead homes and men don't do this and men don't do that. Well, let me ask you this. If you have 10 people in the elevator, 5 women and 5 men, the elevator catches on fire. Who's going to look to who to get out without thinking? It's a natural thing. Men are natural protectors, and because most women are raised by their dads, and if you had a good relationship with your dad always wanted to protect, provide, and lead. And so that's why I say that. So don't, get caught up on that. Just understand what I'm saying as a provider. As a provider for his family, a man who loves his family, who loves his wife, wants to protect them, wants to provide them for them, wants them to lead them down the right path in life. That is one of the things that really derails a family. So when a man gets into debt over his head and he doesn't know how to get out, the breadwinner feels like the bread loser. And because of that, he goes through all these different emotions and he feels inadequate. He feels like, what kind of man am I that I can't lead? I know that's how I felt when I got my family. I said to myself, when I got my family in the debt way over our heads, and I said to myself, how could I have done this to my family? What was I thinking? Even though there were certain things I knew we shouldn't have bought, but I went along with it. And now we're in this position. One of the other things that happens, man sees himself as unworthy. He sees himself as unworthy. And he also sees himself as unattractive because one of the main things that a woman wants outside of love, one of the top 3 things is security. And if he can't provide that security, he feels he's let her down. And sometimes a lot of women feel they've been let down. And so when she feels she's been let down, if she feels that security isn't there, then you find that also affects affection. When the affection dwindles because there's a certain sense of vulnerability and you don't feel secure and you don't know what's going on. And so these things actually affect your physical relationship as well as your emotional relationship in the home and creates instability. And then what happens on top of that, there's loss of communication. And one of the number one things in a strong relationship is communication. Because as long as you can talk, you can work it out. But one of the things I want to say about communication is so very important that you do communicate. And money is such a volatile thing. You know, it's kind of like, I always say, it's kind of like walking through a powder house with a match, trying to find out where the light switch is. You know, a powder house is a place where they keep explosives. And so you're walking through there with a match. So you never know when something's going to blow up before you find that light switch. And talking about money is similar to that. So one of the things I say to do when it comes to talking about money, I want you to set a couple of rules. Number one, agree to take time out away from the kids, away from distractions, turn your phones off, close your laptop, and say, okay, we're going to discuss this financial situation that we're in. And so what will happen is, what I suggest you do, is each person gets 5 minutes uninterrupted to speak about how they feel. That's number one. Number two, the second rule is, I will not attack you for how you feel, whether I like what you say or not. I will not attack you for it. I want you to have the freedom to say exactly how you feel, because if you don't give that person that freedom to do that, you will never really know how they truly feel. And you will not be able to know what to target and to work on to help make it better. And then, like I said, each person gets 5 minutes to speak, uninterrupted. And if you don't want to speak for 5 minutes, as say if you only speak 3 minutes, you can yield the floor to the other person and simply says, that's all I had to say. Now I want to hear what you have to say. And then number three, agree not to discuss it right then and there. I want you to set a time for the next day or the next couple of days. Don't make it more than 3 days, because then you'll lose everything that they talked about. But to think about what that person said and think about what you can do to make it better for them. I'll repeat that again. Think about what the person said, ponder it, think over it, and think about the answer, what you can do to make it better for them. And these three things will help you so very much to remember this. Communication is the key. And because if you communicate, you sit down, you talk about it, you set the rules of 5 minutes, you set the rule that nobody's going to attack the other person for what they have said, and then you come back together in about 1 to 3 days, and what you're coming back, you're looking for a solution of how you can make it better for them, because as you make it better for them, you make it better for your whole household. And so that's it for tonight. This is Frank at Bottom Line Ministries, Debt Free. If you want more information on this, you can also go to my website at bottomlineministries.org. You can listen to some of the videos that I placed on there, or you can order my book, In God We Trust, Dollars and Cents. You can order it right off of the website, and it'll have a whole chapter in there on relationships. And I just want you to know that debt is not your destiny. This is Frank, Bottom Line Ministries. Have a great night.